So I just started the timer. So what's going on in this series is that I'm going to create an e-commerce website for you guys, and you guys can learn from what I do. And I'm going to start everything from scratch, and I'm going to just use PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and so forth. So I'm going to record these videos in hour intervals. So maybe I'll do this daily, bi-daily, I don't know. But the first thing we're going to do is start creating the basic skeleton of my website. And the reason why I'm doing an e-commerce website, build an e-commerce website, you could build basically any other website. So what I'm going to do is actually start building the website. So I created this folder called e-website in my WAMP htdocs server, so to speak. If you guys don't know what that is or don't know how to use WAMP or any local web server, there is an installation videos on my channel. Be sure to check those out. And I'm using my text editor, which is Atom. So there's nothing in this website or in this folder or within this website. So the first thing we're going to do is actually create an index page. So we're going to save this file and call it index.php, since we're going to be using PHP. And then, so basically this first hour is probably going to be dedicated to just setting up the website. So we're going to create an includes folder. Let's see, we're going to create a DB folder. And then within that new folder, we're going to create a connect.php, because we're going to have to connect to a database at some point. And then what else do we need to do? Includes index.php. I don't know if I should use SASS or CSS in this tutorial. I think I should use, we'll use SASS. So we'll create a new folder for SASS, and then we'll create a new folder for CSS. And if you guys don't know, if you don't know how to use SASS or don't know how to install SASS, there's actually an installation on my channel. However, you use this, if you can follow this, you can actually follow this tutorial by strictly using CSS. That is completely fine. SASS makes things a little bit easier. The only main thing I really use is variables, and that's very useful when you're using color schemes. So we have a CSS, we have a SASS folder. What else do we need? We have all that, DB, connect, include, SASS, CSS. That is it. I guess we could start running SASS. So how do you start? Is it Ruby? Yeah, run command prompt with Ruby. I have to change my directory. So cd, I think it's WAMP 64. And then cd htdocs, I believe. Nope. Oh, I spelled that wrong. cd htdocs. Nope. Oh, it's cd. I think it's www/htdoc. Nope. Where is this? Is it W and then cd htdocs? It was a syntax error. Oh, actually, htdocs is www, I think. So cd e-website. That is the folder that I'm in currently. And then we're going to do SASS watch SASS into CSS. So this allows me to convert SASS files into CSS files. And I'll just leave this running in the background so that it could do these conversions live. Okay, so now that we have that, I think we can get started with the basic HTML for this. So we're going to start with HTML. Why is it so small? I do not know. I think this might be large enough, maybe a little larger, so you guys could see. So HTML, maybe that is way too large. That might be too large. So right here. So HTML, is this how you even do it? I don't remember. Head, have a head file or head tag, and then a body tag. If I could spell this correctly. I'm trying to do as much as possible within this hour. So body, boom, boom, boom. Our head, we're gonna have actually some PHP going here. So PHP, this is actually gonna be we're gonna include a head file. which will contain all our plugins and styling, fonts, and so forth. So we're going to put that in the includes folder, semicolon. So we're going to create that file. So this will be head.php. That'll be useful. And then we're going to have another include here. If you guys don't know what include is, it just basically includes files from various destinations within your website. So for example, I'm including a head file within the includes folder using this path. So we could include main nav bar or main nav.php. That's fine, and that would also be in the includes. Includes for me is basically a general folder that allows you to include, you know, common things on your website, such as a main nav. You don't want to basically recode or retype the nav bar for each page for your website. You can just keep it in one place and include it by using PHP. So I think that is it. I think you need a doc type of some sort. This might be, I don't remember the syntax. I think there's an exclamation mark or something, but I think it's just doc type. I might be wrong though. We'll see. Includes head, PHP, main nav. What else do we need? We might or may not. I don't know. We might need a footer or not. Footers always give me problems, and I don't like it. So there's that. And then in the includes folder, or includes in the head. Let's do that now. So we're gonna have. Let's do some commenting. So this is PHP. So we this can be HTML. So this can be let's see, global styling. Let's have a link for that. Let me try to do that. jQuery. We're definitely gonna have jQuery. So I mostly use jQuery because it's a lot easier to write. It's uglier to read, but it's easier to write. And to be honest, most websites, if you're talking about, you know, a basic website on the internet, they don't use too much JavaScript. I mean, I guess you can use JavaScript for some of the things, but I mean, to be honest, the main reason why I use JavaScript or jQuery is just basically click events, and basically that's it. I don't really use too much of anything else. Yeah, you can use those special animations and so forth, but usually I'm not really into that. It kind of looks choppy sometimes. If you could create a really smooth looking website, then I agree. You could use some sweet animations using JavaScript. But I personally don't use JavaScript that much besides using click events or maybe some, you know, mathematical operation or for loop that I have to use. But most of the stuff that's more complicated occurs in PHP, especially dealing with the database. So now that we have that, jQuery like global styling, what else do we need? I think that's it. Okay, so let's go to the internet. So this is the website, so we could refresh that. Hopefully there's no error. Oh, there is an error. Okay, these errors are fine because we don't need we don't have these files created yet, so that's fine. So let's go to Google Libraries. So this is how we're gonna use I can't spell libraries like that. And we're at 10 minutes in the video and I have yet to do anything. So this series is probably going to take like 40 years to do. So I like to use the second version of jQuery. I had issues with this before. I think I had an issue with an image slider, and for some reason, if I use the version number 3 for jQuery, the image slider would not work, so it wouldn't run properly. So that's why I use 2. To be honest, I don't know if I'm gonna have an image slider in this website, but maybe we will, because that's very typical. So there's our jQuery library, so that's connected. Now you can install or download the file for jQuery and include it that way if you prefer. I just like to use this because it's a lot simpler to do. Okay, so now that we have that, in the CSS folder, okay, yeah. So in the SASS folder, we're going to create a new file, and it's going to be global.sass. So global.sass, that is basically our global styling. So I'm going to link this in. So link, I forgot the syntax for this, href, I believe. href equals CSS global.css, I think, and then type equals text/CSS. I believe that's how you do it. I don't remember. Is it a self-closing tag? I think that's how you do it. Let's see if there's any errors. Oops, that's not the one. Let's see if there's any errors on the website. So we inspect, let's see, no errors. So hopefully that is created. So global, yeah, I think it might be working. So let's try heading in. So let's try saying the body is background color of red. So if you're unfamiliar with the syntax, this is just SASS syntax. It basically takes the SASS syntax, converts it into a CSS file, which you'll see here, and it basically writes it in typical CSS. So that's what SASS does, and that's why I'm running this application in the background. So you can see here, this changed the global CSS styling because we created a SASS file within our SASS folder. So I talked about that in my installation video. So hopefully that does change the background. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. Why doesn't it? So inspect, maybe href is not the one. I don't know. That's interesting. Oh, is it even included? I'm not even sure if it's even included. Includes head.php. Oh, what is our error? Okay, so it is being included. Why is it an error? Okay, now we go to W3 link style sheet, because I don't remember the syntax, and I'm gonna do this a lot because I'm keeping it real. I just forget sometimes. Rel style sheet blah 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 href. So I just forgot something, I guess. I don't know. So copy and paste. Rel text CSS blah right here. Global. Oh, I think I know why. Maybe I didn't put the path correctly. So CSS/global, unless I already did that, I don't know. And that should fix that. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I forget syntax sometimes, so you're gonna see that a lot. So we have a background color of red, so that's unnecessary. So we get rid of that margin, default margin that the website has. Padding 0 as well. And I believe that's it. Wait, I don't even think it has a margin, but I'm gonna keep it there. And I think that is it. All right, so now that we have that, let's find a font. So let's see, Google Fonts. That's another thing that I like to use. So Google Fonts. Let's see, Google Fonts. Here we go. I don't know what looks good. Sans serif monospace. Should monospace be one? Nah. Okay, so let's do no handwriting. Let's keep it sans serif, I guess, or serif. I don't know. Trending, popular. Let's see, popular. This is kind of nice. I think I've used this before. This is too squat. This is nice if it was like a title. So maybe that'll be interesting. Maybe use this for a title. Well, that's kind of nice being bold. Huh. Okay. Let's see what other ones are here. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna spend like 5 minutes of this video looking at fonts. But yeah, so I don't know. What's up with your day? I've been doing nothing this whole summer. And I decided to create this series today. So, I don't know. Lotto? Slabo? I'm so sorry. If you want to skip this, I am. It's just, sometimes you gotta just make sure the font is beautiful. If you don't have the font being beautiful, your website looks like, shit. So, let's see. Okay. I think I might throw in the towel. I kind of like this Roboto as like Roboto as a regular font. So let's add that one. And I'm gonna take this title looking one. And I don't know what else. Cabin's kind of cool. You usually want something that's stylistic for like titles or headers and maybe, descriptions or what's it called, captions. And then when you want your actual text, people like what people are going to be reading for more than like maybe a minute or two, you want it to be, an easy to read font, nothing too fancy, just really plain, simple, nice, crisp looking font. So that's what I'm trying to look for. I really don't know, like, too much technical things about, I think Roboto is the one that's, clean for that. So, I don't know, we'll stick with these two. So basically you, if you don't know how to use Google Fonts, you basically press the add symbol, and then it gives you this little pop-up thing. And then you basically copy this right here. And then, so you get to copy that, and then you get to put that in your head. So we could put this right here, and then we could type in Google Fonts like that, and then we have our fonts linked in. So now what I'm going to do is actually take these, and I believe in SASS, so I'm going to create a new folder or new file in SASS called variables.sass, and I believe I could create a variable. So this is called Roboto, so I'm going to call it Roboto. I think this is how you create variables. I don't remember, or is it like this? I think it might be like that. I'm not too sure. So Roboto open. Oh, what is this? Open sans condensed. Open sans condensed. I don't really want that. I'll call it OPSC. OSC. I think that's how you define a variable. And then what we're gonna do this. Oh, don't do that. We're going to import on this global. We're going to import. This is like the include in PHP. We're going to import variables.css. So variables.sass, and that basically includes the variables onto this web page. So now if I want to say font family and I type in Roboto, that should allow me to. That should change the font. So I'll say hello world on this right here. Not like that. Let's put a question. Okay, so hopefully that does change. It doesn't change. Interesting. Maybe that's not how you create a variable. Now I have to look up how to create a variable for SASS. So how to create a variable for SASS. I don't remember the document. Keep in mind, it's been a while since I've been built a website, but I still know how to do it. It's not too difficult. SCSS syntax. How about SASS syntax? I don't. Let's try syntax. It's still giving me the same thing, huh? Yep. Okay. Maybe it does need a semicolon. I don't know. Where is that? Global. Nope. Variables. Maybe you do. I don't know. I really don't know. Nope. All right. So that didn't go as planned. So what I'm gonna do, unless I figure it out sometime, I don't know. I just really don't want to spend that much time on this. So family font family, that, right, and then you have, just comment that out, and then change this to font family. And I'll just use this page as, a resource for fonts. And I'll just copy and paste the styling, which is very redundant, and I really want to figure this, because that'll save me so much time. Okay, I'm gonna stop the timer and look up how to do this variable thing, because this is gonna bother me and this will save so much time. So there were multiple reasons why that didn't work. Okay, so I figured it out, and it was a very stupid thing. So let me show you what happened. So let me get rid of that and go to SASS variables. So this is for anyone who missed it just like I did, which is very idiotic. But let's say we want to go to variables, and then if you notice right here, which is not as noticeable as I thought it would be, you could basically, this is the CSS syntax for variables. And then if you click this button, it actually shows you the syntax for the variables in SASS. And it's basically the same thing without commas or semicolons. And so I was correct. I just didn't realize. And also there was what do you call it? There was a cache issue. So I had to reset my cache for the window. So now we have a window that says hello world in Roboto, so to speak. So now that we have that, we have, I think almost everything. What else do we need before we move on to anything else? Connect.php. I don't remember the syntax completely. Okay, so if you a useful website is W3 Schools or something like that. Connect to database. And this resource is very useful. So we're going to scroll down to PDO, which is what we're using, and basically copy and paste this whole thing. So Control C, Control V. And I don't have a website set up yet. I think it's 127.0.0.1. I think that's what it's called. My root will be, or my username will be root, and there will be no password, since I'm working on a local server. Now obviously if you're gonna publish this website, it is best to actually use a password and a username. So I'm gonna redefine this variable. So this is gonna be a handle, and what we're gonna have here is handle. And then that should be fine. Actually, if there's an exception, we're just going to kill the page. So this will be die. And I don't like this syntax. I wonder how you guys, type. Because my friend types it the same way as it was before. It was like this. And I find that really weird. So, I like to, do my brackets in this fashion. So, die. And then we'll have a message say, oops, something went wrong with the database. Please try again later. Okay. So now that we have our connect file, so we have all these files created. We're going to use that later. I don't think we need it for the index page. Most likely you don't need it for the index page. Unless you have something displaying information from the database, then yes, you will need it from the index page. But I don't think I need it. So, I don't know what kind of website we're going to be building. Maybe it'd be maybe a designer website, like a t-shirt manufacturer website maybe, or, a clothes website. Or what do people sell online? I don't know. I really don't know. To be honest, I should be using this series as for a website for my channel. That actually would save so much time. But, I probably won't do that. Simply because I'll be showing you guys the directories and stuff. and I'm probably not comfortable with that, especially since, well, I mean, I'd just be embedding videos and stuff. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe I'll use this. I don't know. And by the way, I probably won't post this, the source code for all of this. Or maybe I will. I don't know. You guys convince me. I would love, I mean, you don't have to. This is, again, I preach for free education. But you can support me on Patreon, and maybe if I get some certain, you know, amount of money per month, I'll give out this source code, and basically you have a free website to work with. And yeah, so there we go. What else? What issues do we have with our website right now? So include the main nav.php. Oh, even changed the font of the, you know, the errors. So we have a main nav issue, include main nav. Okay, so we don't have a main nav. That's basically what it's saying. So main nav.php. Should we start building the main nav? I don't know. Yeah, I guess, because I don't know what else to do besides that. I think everything for like setting up a website is pretty much done. I don't, HTML, body, head, includes main nav. Yeah, it seems done. I don't know. So yeah, I think we're done for the basic setup of any website. Default styling, Roboto connection. Okay, well actually before we go on, let's use another website, or another Google website. Google Color? I don't know. Colors, material design. I use a lot of Google things because, you know, they're very clean when it comes to design, and usually they have like probably like 20 engineers designing like this outline. You know, they spend like 3 weeks determining what is the best color shade hue of this outline. And you know what I would do? I would just simply inspect the object and look at the styling and basically rip it off. But I do not suggest you doing that. Obviously learn from yourself, but you know, sometimes I do that because simply I just don't want to, you know, mess with all the tweaking and analysis when you have already, you know, engineers or web designers like dedicated to do that. So now I'm going to decide a color scheme. I'm really not creative with colors. I kinda, you know, maybe a teal. I usually go towards this color. I don't know why. What else? What other color? Maybe a blue. Maybe a gray blue scheme with a hint of teal. Or red. Yeah, let's go blue. So we'll take this and call this blue. So we're gonna go in our variables.sass file and call this blue, and we'll paste that in, and then we'll section this off. So this will be colors, and then this is going to be fonts. It's useful to be organized. So colors, we have blue. I like this color, so we'll copy and paste that. So this will be teal. And then we're already 30 minutes in the video and I have yet to design anything. So, and then we'll take a gray. Do they have a gray? I can't, that's too blue. Okay, so this is a nice gray, I think. It's like a light gray. And then we'll define that one. So this will be gray. Or is it G-R-E-Y? I don't know. Okay, and then white smoke we'll keep as individual. Okay, so I think we can start designing the main nav. So I think we're ready. Let's see if there's any errors still on this website. Okay, there's no errors, so that means everything's working. Let me get rid of this now. So this is going to be the main nav. It includes head. Alright, so now let's start working on this navbar. So we'll start off with the div. So div is there, and then we're gonna have, you know, a title for the website. So we're gonna call that a div here. and then we'll call this a class since we're going to use this across multiple web pages. So we're going to say this is navbars, and then we're going to define this as a class as well. It may not be necessary, but you know, titles, and we'll just, what's a cool business name? How about that? Let's look up a cool business name. From brand experts. I clicked on the ad. Someone's getting paid. Ads. What else? Pixie. What was that? I like that. Pixie Crunch. Is that what they called it? Urban Chick. I'm gonna think these are suggestions. New Do. I like that. I like Pixie Crunch. Oops. What was that? There was a noise and I don't know what that was. So we're gonna call it Pixie Crunch. Is that how you even spell Pixie? I don't know. Pixie Crunch. That looks wrong to me. How do you spell? Is that how you spell Pixie? Pixie. Yep. Okay. So that's the name of the website, Pixie Crunch, and then we're gonna have another div for the links. Again, I'm not a professional. This is basically how I design things. I like to use a lot of divs for some reason. So this is going to be class nav links, and within that, you can create a list if you want. You can use a list. I don't think I'm going to use a list though. I think I'm just going to use just divs, more divs. So I can't get enough of my divs. So this will be class. To be honest, I should just use that. Oh well. Let's call this links wrap. And then this will be called div. This will be links, nav links. And then we could just style all these at once. So nav links like that. Alright. And then we'll have probably 4 or 5 different links. So oops. That's not what I want. Okay. And then another one, and like DJ Khaled, another one. Okay, so that's gonna be technically a home link is so outdated, but we'll put it there. There's usually an about page, maybe a shop page, which is basically the main thing. What else? Shop, social, and then, you know, maybe a login page, which is what we're gonna do later for a user. I realize how big this website's going to be. It's gonna take a while to complete this website. Probably 60 or so videos, 60 hours dedicated to this one playlist. So home, about, shop, social, that's about it. Oh, and then I want to have link tags. So this will be href, and we're gonna put a dummy tag, so basically the pound symbol, and that doesn't work for that. Okay, so do that. I should have done this before. And now they're link tags. Okay, and then for global, since I know this is what's going to happen, I'm going to get rid of this decoration for links. So text decoration is going to be none. And then probably color, I don't know, maybe white. I really don't know. And I guess you guys could further understand what global.sass is. It's basically global styling for the website. So I want to basically default the styling for my body as well as my links. So I just get rid of that color, because if I didn't have this, there will be an underline and the link will be blue, which I don't want. So now that we have that, what else do we need? We could do some styling. So now this is where the organization of SASS becomes very useful. So what we're going to do is create a new file, and this is going to be index.sass. And basically what we're going to do, we're going to create a folder for index, and then within this folder we're going to include styling for that specific page. So for example, I think I went through this for my tutorial on how to organize a website. If you want to watch that, it's fine. If you want to watch this, that's even better. So within this index folder, what we're gonna do is actually build, let's see what I want to do. Oh, well, actually, this is global styling because it's okay. So, well, I jumped the gun. I'm sorry. But the main nav is actually a global, a global thing on the website. So it's actually pretty smart to put the styling for my nav bar within my global style sheet. So I'm gonna define this as styling, or I should say nav bar styling, and then I'll define this as website defaults or something. So website defaults, and then we'll define this as variables. Again, it's very useful to keep organized. I guess I could tell you guys a story. I was working with a friend. We were building a website, and it was an e-commerce website, and there was a lot of styling that went to that website. It was quite a lot, and we went through various redesigns. And my friend just coded in the CSS, global CSS. He just put everything in the CSS file, in one CSS file. I mean, it was like 2,000-3,000 lines of code. And majority of those variables, or not variables, majority of those IDs and classes were not even used. And surprisingly, they actually caused some errors that were dealing with JavaScript and so forth. So I actually spent like maybe 2 to 3 hours cleaning up that page and basically checking every SASS, or not SASS, CSS style sheet to make sure there was no redundant styling or anything like that. And right now I'm just clicking arbitrarily because I cannot multitask. So be sure to keep yourself organized. If you delete something, make sure you get rid of that styling because it may affect you later. You may reuse a name by accident or something. I don't know. So what we have is we have a class navbars titles. Okay, so what we want to do for this, we want to say class. So class navbars. We want that to be a width of 100% of the viewport or 100% of the window, and basically the 100% basically takes the dimension of the parent object. So in that case, the parent object for the navbar will be the body, and the body basically is contained by the window. So how big the body is basically how big the window is, which causes how big the navbar is. So we're gonna have a width of that, and then let's say a height, I don't know, maybe 100 pixels. No, that's too big. I think 60 pixels would be fine. I wouldn't use a percentage here, simply because it changes based on height. I'd rather have a default height than anything else. And then what else do we need? We're gonna do overflow equal hidden, just in case when you minimize the window, text doesn't go out of its domain, so to speak. And then we have a background color. Let's see, I think I said gray, and then that should be good. So hopefully we have a navbar on this website. Okay, we're almost there. So we have Pixie Crunch, about, home, about, and there's actually text right here, but since overflow hidden is applied to this gray box, it's not being shown. So we can do, maybe I don't want that. Let's try blue. Blue might be a nicer color. I don't like it. Let's try gray. Okay, so I really like the monotone color. It looks more clean to me. Okay, so we have that. I guess we could style the next part, which is going to be, let me get rid of these files. So we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. Okay. So we have Pixie Crunch, so titles. So this is going to be pushed to the left, so we're going to have titles, and we're going to say what do we want to do? Float left, and then we'll have a height as 100%. So this will take the height of the navbar, which is 60 pixels. And then we'll do width, maybe, I don't know, 200 pixels? I really don't know. And I'll put a background color of pink just so I could see it. And then we'll do text align center to center the title. And then line height would be 60 pixels so I could center it vertically. And then we'll put font size, I don't know, 40 pixels. And then we'll put font weight. I don't know if this will do it because I don't know if I included it in the style sheet. Oh, well, there you go. There's Pixie. It's called Pixie Crunch, isn't it? Actually, I like the word Pixie better. I don't know. Pixie.com, is that a thing? Pixie stick. So Pixie. And then I think we should move that since it has a margin. Actually, width should be auto, I realize. It should take the auto basically takes the minimal amount of width for whatever's inside the container. So if I change Pixie to, I don't know, Crunch, I would be able to actually see that. So it'll be Pixie Crunch. So I just want Pixie now. Okay, and then we're gonna have a margin left. Usually like, 50 pixels or so. Some sort of offset is usually nice. Maybe even more than that. Oops, there's an error. What is the error? 50 is maybe more. A lot more. Maybe 150. The proportions are very important as well. Oh, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so 50 pixels is about right. What else? That should be it. We get rid of this background color now. And now we have Pixie. Okay. So now that we have that, we could move on to the next part. So links wrap. So links wrap. We'll do float right this time. So that'll just push everything to the right. And then there'll be a margin right. How much time do I have? I have 18 minutes to go, and I have yet to do anything. So 150 pixels. So this can actually show you how long it takes to actually build a website from scratch. And this is not even including all the errors that you might come, because there'll be legit days where you're just stuck on something that you cannot figure out. And it's either you figure it out or you just figure out an alternative, and usually it's an alternative, unless you figure it out by using a Google search, which is what I do a lot. So yeah, so let's do the height. This will be 100%. Width will be auto, same as before. I could probably combine some of this styling, to be honest. Oh well, I don't care for redundancy. So line height 60 pixels, and then background color, let's see, green, so I could show you guys what I'm doing. Oh, that is correct. So links wrap, so we're gonna have nav links, so this is useful, nav links. And the reason why it's not showing on the website is because they're block elements. So block elements actually stack. They do not go side by side. So what we're going to do is actually change that to display Inline-Block. So they stack side by side. And that actually doesn't solve the issue completely, because if you pay really close attention, let's change these to background color blue. Oh, maybe it won't show up. I don't know. I made a video about this. Oh, yes. Actually, if you zoom in right here, you see this green? That's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be touching together. And the reason why is that, for inline block elements, for some reason, if there's a space or an indentation on the actual code itself, such as here, there'll actually be, one space dedicated to that in between the elements. So what you have to do is actually a simple solution. I created a video on this, I believe. I don't know if I just said that or not. I don't remember. You just create comments in between the elements. You don't have to do it for the beginning element because there's nothing next to it, so to speak, besides the succeeding element, if that makes sense. So basically you don't have to put a comment right here. You just have to do the ones that are in between. So you just do that for each element, and hopefully this gets rid of the space in between the elements, because we changed them to inline-block elements. So we do that. So there's step 1. Here we go. Boom. Now we have the elements like that. Okay. Because I don't like, let's reset this. Since I don't like my links being that close together, I'm going to actually change the spacing on them. So we're going to use margin. So margin goes in this order. So it'll be A, B, C, and D. And each one of these are various dimensions. Let me actually move that up. These are various dimensions. God dang it. Okay, so these are various dimensions. So so this is actually the top margin of the element, the right margin of the element, the bottom margin of the element, and the left margin of the element. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have 0 for the top, and then, or 0 pixels, whichever you want to write. It's syntactically correct. So the right, I want 10 pixels. And then for the bottom, which will have 0, and then 10 pixels on the other side. So hopefully that spaces them out. Yes, it does. Okay, perfect. I don't know if that's enough spacing. Let me get rid of that coloring because that's throwing me off a little bit. So now that we have that, we have a website. That's that. All right. I don't like it being white. It's too, however. I think we need to change the color of that. So what we're going to do is actually change, for style needs, this is going to be a dark gray. I think I remember the hex code for that. I think it's H777? H333? I don't know. I really don't know. But let's go to titles and change the color of that. So we'll say color. We'll say dark gray. Did I say gray? Okay, see, I spelled it here as EY. So I don't know which way to spell gray, to be honest. I think it's like a regional, you know how you spell color differently if you're in a different place in the world other than the US, since the US is the right way to spell things. I don't have any. All right, excuse that last comment. That was just a joke. Okay, so dark gray. That should be the color. England is my city. Okay, so that's actually kind of cool, It gives you that, you know what this reminds me of? That Google Pixel phone. I don't know, I feel like this is a website dedicated to that Google Pixel phone. But yeah, it's a nice color. Okay, so now I can't use that color because that seems a little too redundant. What if we do a different color for links? What we do is color. Let's see, color. Let's try that blue. I don't know if it'll come out nicely. Probably not. Whoa. Why doesn't it work? Huh, that's interesting. That's not showing up. Control Shift Delete or something. Huh, that's weird. Inspect. Oh, okay. Here's an error. Oh, luckily I figured this out before. But if you look on the source code, the color is white, but you see here that the color is actually blue, which is defined. So there's this idea in CSS called specificity. I believe that's how you say that word, specificity. So basically, styling has some sort of some magnitude of importance. So let's go, for example, like if I define, let's say, for right here, the links wrap. So if I do style and inline styling, so let's say a background color of red or something, it would actually change this color of red. However, if I were to actually let me see if I could demonstrate this. So it's actually red, and let's say in the CSS file I actually change that. So was it nav links? Was it nav links? No, links wrap. Links wrap, and let's say I want to change the background color to blue. So now there's two different stylings for the same thing in different spots, you know, on inline styling versus, you know, a style sheet. So what will win? What will actually happen is that, you know, the inline styling would always take over. It would, no matter how you change the CSS here or over there, it doesn't matter where you do it. The inline styling will always have, you know, dominance, or have that first layer of specificity. So that's basically what's going on with these color, because we have a defined element A, and we define the color as white, and that's basically an issue because this will override a classification such as a class. So we could get rid of this, and basically it should work. So I'm going to get rid of this as well. And now those links should be blue, which is ironic because I did not originally want them to be blue. Oops. Wait. Whoa. What just happened? Okay, so links wrap should not be blue. This should not be blue. I mean, it can be, but it's actually this. So let's see. I think that's what I want. Okay. That's I'm really not digging that. Let's try teal. Or actually, I should probably keep it black. Uh-oh. Is that teal? No, there's not teal. Okay, that might be... Huh. That's interesting. So that actually might be a cache error. I don't know. Huh, that's really bothering me. Okay, did I spell teal correctly? Alright, I did. Oh no, I have 8 minutes. Okay, I'm going to say black, and then we're going to transition into a different color. And for some reason, that is not working. Huh. Why is that not working? Is it because it's a... Oh, that's weird. Okay, we might have more of an issue. Oh, because nav links. Okay, again, this will override it. So I have to do... I think what I have to do... So actually what I was seeing is just regular blue. I wasn't actually changing the styling of that. That's funny. So what I should do is get rid of this and do nav links, or actually I just do it within this the scope. So I could do A, and then I'm basically nesting right here, but it just looks weird because it's SASS. So usually you have brackets, and then the nesting will be more noticeable. But basically I'm writing nav links, and within nav links I'm changing the color of the links themselves. So I should say color, and let's see if the blue changes. So that should theoretically work. Yes, that's actually a nice blue. Okay, so I think what I'm actually going to do is make this black, like a harsh black, or dark, no, black, like that. And then what I'm going to do is do this. So A, hover. So when I hover over those links, I'm going to change the color to blue or teal, I don't know. And then on here, I'm going to have a transition. You always put the transition on before the hover, or before the, you know, animation. So we're going to do, usually I use all, but since we're not changing multiple properties, we're only changing the color. I'm going to use color instead. So color, 0.3 seconds, ease. This is what I always use. Like, I rarely use anything else. 0.3 seconds is just fast enough where it looks pretty smooth. Ease creates this kind of like, was it cubic function? Well, it's not cubic because it goes sideways. But, you know, this function that, you know, transitions very cleanly, and, you know, uses the idea of, you know, the idea of change. You know, maybe a derivative is in there if you're a little technical like I am. So basically that allows us to transition the color. So basically when I hover, oh, look at that, now it's a nice blue. And yeah, so let's try teal, because I want to look at how teal will look. So teal is that. Boom. I kind of like the blue better, to be honest. So blue. Maybe I should do that with the pixie as well. That'd be kind of cool. So titles, we'll do titles hover. And then we'll change the color to blue. Like that. And then again, we put the transition on the one prior. So it'll be transition. And then we'll put color 0.3 seconds ease, and that allows the transition to occur on this title. That's kind of cool. That should be a link, to be honest. That's why I say home is kind of redundant, but you know, whatever. Href, it should be index.php. And there we go. At 4 minutes, I might go over a little bit. That's fine. I'm pretty sure you guys don't mind me going an extra 10 minutes. Okay, maybe not 10 minutes, but an extra like 5 minutes or so. But titles hover. So I'm gonna do that nesting thing again. So okay, what am I doing? Okay, a color, and then we'll put that dark gray like that, and then a hover, boom, like that. So that should work for the title. Yep. So there we go. We got our color transitions, and that takes us to index.php. That's why I say home is redundant, but you know, some people still have it on there. And you know, this is a little rant. You know, some websites actually have the hamburger symbol. If you guys don't know what that is, the hamburger navigation. And let's see, don't tell me Google has it. No. Okay, so hamburger navigation. Let's see. Is that images? Oh, please. I just want to show. Okay, yeah, like this. See, when you see this type of navigation, you always use this on a mobile website. Or it doesn't have to be in this sort of fashion, but it's a hamburger navigation or this hamburger icon to imply that there's some navigation links to navigate the web page. It implies that it's used for, you know, mobile users. Never use it on a desktop version. It's bad practice. It really is, because it's unnecessary clicks, and it's not necessary because you have so much real estate when it comes to a website or a desktop page that you don't need to minimize that navigation. So it's always best to just lay out your nav bar for desktop and then use some media queries, or maybe create a whole new mobile website that allows you to change the navigation to a hamburger navigation symbol thing. Okay, just don't use that for the the desktop nav bar. It's just my advice. I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. If you want that, that's fine. But I do not preach that. It's just not necessary. It's very annoying as well. Is that it? Okay, we're running at an hour, so this is the first hour. Hope you guys enjoyed. But let's see. What else do I do? Oh, I guess I could define these links. So about.php. So I guess it was actually not that bad of an hour. I completed the nav bar. I set up the whole basic skeleton of the website. I created the whole, you know, basic thing what you need. I think in the next hour, we're gonna probably start designing the index page, and then, you know, the shop page, the about page, and so forth. I actually want to reorganize that. I want the shop page to be the second thing, because I want that to be one of the first things that people see and want to click. So, because I want to have a conversion rate, even though this is a hypothetical website, I do want people to actually click on my stuff and look at what I want you to buy. So it's like home, shop. Okay, I need to check that out. I mean, about is important as well, but you know, most people just already know what your website is. At least good websites display what they're about by just their index page. Which is why about is actually kind of outdated as well. Home and about are kind of outdated, to be honest. Shop and social, even social is really unnecessary. Shop is basically the only thing you need in an index page, and maybe a login page if you need login information. But yeah, like this is it. This is the website. I don't think I need anything else. Oh, I guess I could create these pages real quick. So yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this, please tell me what you liked about this video, because I really didn't do anything. Oh, this already exists. My bad. New file. So like I said, I'm gonna try to do this an hour a day, maybe 5 days a week. That's really ambitious, to be honest, since I barely can finish anything. I like to do different things, and that's why I didn't finish my statics playlist yet. But I hope you guys enjoy this. We created a navbar basically, and it took us an hour. But we're also building a website, so that's also important. So about.php, and again, this is raw, uncut. I mean, except for that one moment where I did just me being stupid on how to define a variable in SASS. That was just me being stupid. But other than that, this is raw, uncut. What I actually do, I do use Google. I do not memorize all this stuff because it's completely unnecessary. Like, for example, I do not memorize how to connect to a database because it's just not necessary. You just copy and paste, and that's basically it, you know? I mean, you need to know how the database works, obviously, but other than that, you don't need to memorize this stuff. You just got to understand the basic principles of programming, such as like for loops, defining variables, understanding how this logical reasoning on how to display information and stuff like that. And that'll get you through building any website that you want. Okay, what am I doing again? I'm getting off track. So main nav, about, shop, about.php, about.php, and then what was the next one? Social and login. Okay, new file, social.php, and then new file, login.php. Okay, so my hour is up, unfortunately, but basically that's what this series is about. I code for an hour, I talk a little bit. I realized I talked through the whole hour. I wasn't intended to do that. But that was the whole hour. Okay, yeah. So what we accomplished today was that we set up the whole basic skeleton of a website, how to organize your website, and we created a navbar. You know, we created a very basic navbar. You know, it actually works, except for I didn't. Okay, maybe in the next video we'll create these pages even further so that we have a navbar to work with. But yeah, you know, that's it for the hour. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a comment on why you enjoy this, and tell me if you actually are looking forward to the next video, the next hour. Okay, I'll see you soon. Hopefully, I do not procrastinate on this. I'll see you later.